Hello, welcome to Loremaster's Lair. I'm your Loremaster, here today to actually make another plane video. I know, shocking. However, I owe all of you one after Asmodeus, and there just happens to be a Starfinder adventure path which is taking a detour through hell. Hopefully you will not give more information on the plane. I'm not really ready for that today. But what I am ready for is to bargain away information on the plane of hell. And just hell. Certain denizens will be mentioned, but no god video today. So, let's begin, shall we? To go through this, the most appropriate way is to go layer by layer. However, the best place to start is a side tangent, a path which transcends the separation of layers. So, time for the part of the show where games, ancient mythology, and my lack of ability with words mix in a poisonous slurry. So, the river Styx. In Greek mythology, the river Styx was a barrier between our world and the world of the recently deceased, and the world where spirits rest. In the Divine Comedy, Dante borrowed from Greek myth and made the Styx one of the four major rivers which eventually filled the icy center of hell. In Pathfinder, this is taken a step further, not only passing through every layer of hell, but crossing Abaddon, the Abyss, Axis, and the Maelstrom, before finding its end in the Boneyard. However, we have two contradicting bits of information. Most sources, it says that the river starts in Abaddon, but the book which maps out the layers of hell marks the first layer as where you find the headwaters. Guess we need more information on Abaddon to get the full story. One day. And on to the first layer, Avernus. Avernus is the only layer of hell which outside forces have pierced and managed to damage, there being deep scars of battle and splintered iron dotting the landscape. However, the land has already long been a wasteland, much the molten metal the actual inhuman landscape, and the mountains of blades are naturally grown by the region. Souls usually appear in the wasteland at random, with devils of this region mainly spending free time hunting down new arrivals to press gang into service. Notable landmarks for the rare tourists to avoid include Arizona, the noxious beginnings of the river Styx, and the Promised Land, the Cronenberg-esque floating island home of Barbatos. There's going to be a few side tangents that are close to start today. So let's go with our second side tangent, right between layers 1 and 2, the Azores. In Dharmic mythologies, the Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, those Azores were creatures a step above humans, but a step below the Devas, or gods in the pantheons. Usually translated in different regions as titans, demigods, or anti-gods, these creatures were constant enemies to the various deities in Hindu myth. In Pathfinder, they are still enemies of deities, being fiends born from the mistakes of the gods, with the purpose of working to tear down the deities from their lofty thrones. Originally, at the beginning of time, they fled to the Maelstrom before eventually becoming one of the creatures who rule hell. Then the devils came, and the Titans, Vastuk, and Azores all were defeated. But while the Eddas left or were imprisoned, Azores and the demigod-level Azor Ranis were given their own home in Atulu, the thin layer between Avernus and Dis. Which, of course, brings us to the second layer, Dis. Dis was once a barren wasteland, but the archdevil Dispater has transformed it into one of the greatest cities in the multiverse. This is a long one with a lot of information across various books, so let's move through everything quickly. The city is divided into 4 main regions. The Outlands, where there is no city yet, and instead where the infernal dukes are allowed to make their homes. The ghettos, where the poor live, and where the outer walls are constantly being expanded, usually with the flesh of the poor. The Opidan Maze, the main region of the town. The name coming from how little mortals, beings of imperfect order, have trouble navigating it. And of course, the Iron Heart, where only the highest-ranking members of this pathless cult may step foot. Individual landmarks include the Breath Market, home to the trade of life and souls for anything one desires. The Broken Chain, which are the embassies of the Vostok. The Demigorge, which is a museum of the worst souls ever to go to hell. The Fallen Fastness, which is the library of all of Hell's contracts. And of course, in the center of the Iron Heart, is Dispater's home, the Iron Scepter, and Eleusis, the home of his queen, Erecula, who I believe I talked about way back during my original Planes videos. Check those out if you want to hear more. Third up is Erebus, land filled with many vaults, keeping within and without endless amounts of treasure from across the multiverse, all which belong to Mammon and count as part of his body. There is no sky, only vaults, only statues, only places for more endless treasure to be stored, and for monsters who guard the treasure to watch the endless darkness. But for locations of the greatest of treasures, we have the Argent Prince, a giant statue of Mammon he possesses to talk to others. Mammon's Briar, the tomb which holds the original body of Mammon. And the Torturous Vault, tomb for the corpses of various beasts from across the multiverse, collected in one place for who knows what reason. Next up, fourth, is Phlegethon, the lair with 2 faces. Outside is the mine, where the souls who find their way here toil, digging for all eternity, with only one escape. Inside, the Idolescu, the territory of the archdevil Belial, where he takes the most beautiful of the workers and leads them to his bower, to trade pain with pleasure, and where the soul learns that pleasure can be its own torture. This is also the location of the main smithies of Hell, where weapons are forged to be used by its endless armies. Other places can be found by people who step away from the work, which includes Withian, a mysterious pyramid Hell is working to excavate, and the Task, a crushing boulder that often falls, forcing some workers to need to push it back up to where it causes less damage. Fifth up is Stygian, the swamp fashioned from poison, each drop made of concentrated lies from across the multiverse, and also one of the main areas the river Styx travels through. It is also a graveyard to face from across the multiverse. Most of them falls, most of them schisms, and a few of them fates which the Archdevil Greyon worked to bring to an end with his lies. Their shrines mixed among the others so only the ruler himself may know. His own territory is a city made up of these idols, the Drowned Empire, from which the Archdevil sows his deception and laughs at fates of all kinds. Reminder to everyone that Gran was an Azor before becoming a devil, as opposed to his fallen angelic peers. This is also home to the Library of Oaths, where all false oaths are recorded, and the Illis Sig, a white stone monument where even the swamp cannot touch. We are at the 6th, where we stand before the Mollyburg. At first, one might not notice anything about this realm being amiss until they reach a wall. Mollyborg is made up of a vast series of fortresses, built upon each other. Referred to collectively as Citadel Ball, with large areas enclosed in walls referred to as Burgia. Some Burgia are ruled by infernal lords. Some have landscapes which would not look odd outside of the material plane. However, each is filled with the endless armies of hell, training and strategizing their endless conquest. The centermost keep belongs to Moloch, who continues ensuring his armies are constantly trained and ensure all battle plans are perfect. This keep also contains the Eye of Baal, a central command center which allows Moloch to view every soldier of his army at once. Another interesting site is the Revenant Court, a Borgia where centuries-old vampires sit asleep, waiting. For what? Mortals hope we never find it out. We are going at a quick pace, but let us take a moment to look at what can be done with the Legions of Hell. A la Side Tangent 3, Devil Talismans. These are objects made from pacts with devils, allowing themselves to be sealed within the talismans in order to be able to be at the beck and call to the summoner, with most not realizing the price of getting your hands on one of these is already losing your mortal soul. We know of 3 types. First, Sanguine is just blocking a regular devil in your necklace, which can be summoned a la Summon Monster, though they are free to completely disobey you if the mood strikes. There are Melancholic, which contains a Hellmouth, the various portals which allow one to travel through hell, which, when activated, allows connections from where you are to one of the 2 places that Hellmouth would usually connect, with of course the warning that it lasts for 10 minutes, and if you're in hell when the portal closes, the talisman cannot connect you back to the surface. Finally, bilious talismans have infernal dukes within them, but it does allow a person to reach their dreams through enhanced charisma and some choice spells. Then when the owner has reached their peak, it is torn away from them, along with everything within 1,000 feet, all pulled into hell to be slaughtered. They should have read the fine print. Back to Lair's 7th, we have Torturous. This is a frozen wasteland, stretching on for as far as the eye can see. And within the ice is frozen various moments. The universe's greatest catastrophes, history's greatest failures, an untold number of souls standing as sculptures to the forces of hell. Though the land is not as barren as it appears, and every now and then a creature living beneath the ice will crest up, bringing entire hellish cities back down with them. For this Lair's landmarks, we have Belzebul, the home of Balsibul, a floating island of black snow and fly-covered temples dedicated to the Archdevil's greatness. And we have Tekame, a small, relatively peaceful town, for us to give sacrifices to the devils each year, sinking continuously into the cycle of betrayal. 8th, we have Cain. Here we have an expansive abyss that serves as a prison for various souls. Some are lofty pillars reaching up to incalculable heights, secured with bars. Some are hanging cages dangling from a chain. One constant torment which faces all is the endless hot winds blowing across the region. Between every bar, the ash and rust slowly scourging all who are imprisoned. 2 main landmarks are here as well. The largest tower is the Hellfire Testament, where the Archdevil Mephistopheles observes the torment throughout his realm, in a twisted palace of cages and chains. Another, the Dustbringer, is a vile machine designed to reduce the vast empires into the ruins they will one day be in seconds. Finally, the ninth. We have Nessus. I described it in the Asmodeus video, but let us describe it again here. Nessus appears just like a realm of Elysium, after it has been turned to bits. The earth is split, volcanoes continuously spew lava. The roads are paved with skulls. Mountains have been carved in temple after temple, devoted to the Prince of Darkness. Below is Asmodeus' court, also known as a workhouse where slaves continuously toil in Asmodeus' name, which also doubles as an altar, a library, a laboratory, whenever is needed. For public meetings, Asmodeus has a synod's eye, a throne floating above a massive pit, 8 thrones assault around it. And when he wishes to be alone, his own private domain is the cataphract, where no one creature has ever seen inside of, besides Asmodeus himself. And now let us finish with a quick look at the territories of other deities. As most of these are within other territories, let's call this side tangent 4. First, between Axis and Avernus lie several mountains, one dubbed Stone Peak, ruled by the stone giant deity Minderhall. Even closer to Avernus is Setsundu, which first appears to be an idyllic healing plains. However, the wars of General Susumu and cruel justice of Yazing make these Tian-connected lands dangerous. The fire giant deity Zostvatar managed to earn him a piece of the Malbar by continuously stalemating with Moloch. This region now known as the territory Hiflheim. The Hawk, the lord of evil dragons, sleeps in the adamantine morose at the base of several of Cain's highest towers. Finally, the 4 queens of the night, starting with Ardad Lily, who lives in her own hold of the stainless caress in Avernus. Iseth lives in Dis, outside of Dispava's control, in the Widow's Cry. Between Phlegethon and Stygia lies the cavern of Voipol, where Marhatala makes her home. Finally, Dolores rests in Cain, in her torture chamber named the Spike of Our Lady of Pain. Which brings us to the end of our Hellish tour. One day I will do the Archdevils, but this is probably not going to happen till after I am done with our 2 sets of 20+, or something moves them to the front of the line. Maybe just have 2 months of speaking of the Archdevils. Someday. Either way, not this year. Come back next week when we use our recent foray into darkness as an excuse to deal with dark powers and some other interesting trickings. See you then.